Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called The Eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. And mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, like I said, today's lesson, the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, and this is from dailymail.com. A couple days ago, it says mysterious pulsating UFO hovers over California for 15 minutes. It says a startling new video has captured a clear image of what one witness believes was a giant UFO flying over California. All right. And, they call it UFO or unidentified flying objects, but they are identified flying objects, right? They're IFOs, right? Those are the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, or the chariots of the Lord. Okay. And what are they doing? Right? They're watching, they're looking over this place. Right? Let's keep reading. So it says the April 27th video taken by an unnamed resident in 29 Palms followed what appears to be a brightly lit hexagonal craft as it flew over the desert. It says the UFO reportedly appeared out of nowhere around 10:27 p.m. Pacific time. It says while the witness was staying at a remote cabin. According to the report, the witness made to the National UFO Reporting Center. 2 days later, the suspected spacecraft was moving very slowly and irregularly, like it was in a daze. It said it seemed to move arbitrarily with no clear path. It says the movements were jerky and at varying speeds. The witness wrote in their NUFORC report. It says the large object also appeared to pulsate. It says giving a bright light from its edges as it moved through the sky for approximately 15 minutes. It says tonight is the new moon, so it was definitely not the moon, and in any case was much brighter than even a full moon. Right, and that's you see that, right? And on a full moon, right? Them chariots is out. All right. It says the striking thing was its great brightness, in irregular shape and path that they added. It said as the witness and the 29 Palms followed the UFO, they added that the strange craft began to change shape, morphing from a six-sided object into a circle. It says the person taking the cell phone video was the only witness at the cabin that night, so no one else was able to confirm their story. It says, however, they declared that in their report that they hadn't taken any mind-altering substances during the sighting and had clear vision the entire time. It says officials at the NUFORC tried to find an explanation for the sighting, noting that a SpaceX rocket launched had taken place that day, but the Falcon 9 took off in Florida 3 hours earlier. It says a previous rocket launch created a similar phenomenon over the UK. That bizarre shape was caused by illuminated frozen fuel expelled from the SpaceX. So now they're going to try to explain what they're seeing. You know what I mean? The Esau always has to try to explain, what's going on. He tries to de explain what it really is. Okay, that's a word. It says the light blue spiral is formed when excess fuel has been released from a fast spinning rocket, turning to ice. It said then reflects the sunlight in the upper atmosphere, giving it an otherworldly gleam before turning to water vapor. Now this dude said it was a new moon, so it was dark, right? We know the new moon is the dark moon. All right. So, but Esau will steadily try to diss and all that. So it says the brand new sighting came just before the U.S. congressional hearing on UFOs or unidentified aerial phenomenals, or UAPs. It says the speaker, including the Pentagon UFO project whistleblower Luis Elizondo, a former NASA administrator and retired Navy admiral, called on the government to release what they know about these unexplained sightings. They also called for an increase in funding in the detection of UFOs and UAPs, which several hearing speakers said was being suppressed by the U.S. intelligence community. Elizondo and others noted that witnesses like the one in 29 Palms have no centralized official channel in the U.S. to speak to when it comes to reporting UFO sightings. Therefore, countless alleged sightings either go unreported or are never investigated by the military or federal officials. The NUFORC and Mutual UFO Network are two of the most recognized civilian groups keeping track of sighting by civilians. While these two organizations are not government affiliated, they often share data with research or government entities when significant cases arise. All right. Ultimately, we know that these are the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. And the scriptures, they call them by many names, right? Clouds, chariots, be it, be it what it may, right? But those are ultimately, the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. Those are the chariots that you see. Okay. And what are they doing? They're going to and fro. Salakia. Let's just get a couple of scriptures, right? When we go to and we know that they can shape ship change, or if I can say it right, they can shape into different forms, right? Ezekiel saw a chariot, right? And like I say, they can come in many forms. One, I don't know if it was Isaiah, but this is Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel 1:4, it says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, and a great cloud, a fire enfolding in itself, and a brightness was about it, right? Talking about the chariots, or the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, or which is basically a spacecraft. If you could kind of explain it in the simpler terms, right? What Yahawashi is coming in. He's coming in a huge chariot or spacecraft. All right. It says out of the mist thereof. It says the brightness was about it out of the mist thereof, as the color of amber, and out of the mist of the fire, right? Because you'll see some that they look like flames. We've seen ones that look like a flaming streak across the sky, right? And you know that it wasn't like a whatever, what do you call a meteorite or stuff like now, because this thing, it was moving and stopped. You'll have some that'll just get bright, be real bright. You have some that'll go slow. You have some that look like stars. They look like stars, but they're just moving at an incredible rate across the sky. Like, you see these things, right? If you just kind of look up sometimes. All right. So Ezekiel, was kind of explaining, the different chariots, right? It says, when we jump down to verse 16, it says, the appearance of the wheels in their works was like unto a color of a barrel, and the four had one likeness, and the appearance of their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel, right? And if you saw that little depiction of that, the little circle going inside of a bigger circle, all right? Now, these are spiritual vehicles, right? It says, and when they went, right, talking about the angels, right, because who are controlled? The angels are controlling these chariots, these UFOs, okay? And these are spiritual vessels, so Esau's not shooting them down, okay? It says, when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went, right? It says, verse number 19, and it says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up, right? So you just kind of imagine these things are, as there's angels probably walking around the earth, these UFOs, right, or these chariots of Yahawah, the eyes of Yahawah, they're following. They're like connected. You know what I mean? So wherever they go, wherever the angels go, there go the chariots. Okay. Let's see. I believe the other one is in Isaiah, right? But the scriptures talk about, like, they're called many things. They're called the clouds, like a cloud. Like, remember, Yahawashi was taken up in a cloud, right? It's not an actual cloud, right? Those are the chariots, right? These things they actually can look like clouds, right? But they can shape into any forms. They can look like metal objects. They can look like balls of light. They can look like fire, right? They can look like a wheel upon a wheel. Okay, they can shape shift. That's the word I'm trying to say. Salakia. Let's go to matter of fact, I think it is. I could be wrong. Salakia. Let's see if I can find it. It's not it. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's try Zechariah. Salakia, I think that's Zechariah 5:1, right? The flying roll, right? That flying roll is talking about the chariots of Yahawah, the eyes of the Lord, which you call a so-called UFO, right? And there's many stories, right? The one I can never forget is the Edomite who said he saw one that looked like a cigar shape. Let me just read this real quick. This is Zechariah chapter 5:1. It says, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. All right. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll, the length thereof 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off on as this side according to it, and on every one that sweareth shall be cut off on that side according to it, right? But Zechariah saw looked like a flying roll, or a cigar shape, right? Because the Edomite that was telling the story, he said he saw one land on a base, all right, and he said it seemed like it was like as big as a football field. And he's like, and he said, these men got out, right? And he said they had to be like 6-7 feet tall. And he said, and they were like dark skinned. He said, and the look on their face as of men who've never been conquered, right? Because these are the angels of Yahawashi, all right? And they're in these vessels, all right? They call it was Elijah or Elisha called it the chariots of Yahawashi, okay? And the Lord has many of these, right? When we go to the book of Psalms 68, verse number 17, right? Called the chariots, right? A whirlwind, clouds, right? Fire upon a fire, wheel upon a wheel, right? There's so many just, descriptions of these, right? They're not just one set thing. Okay, like I said, these are spiritual. And this is why you see Esau, ramping up what he calls the Space Force. Okay, because he knows what's about to happen, right? It's about to be an invasion. All right. And there ain't no aliens, right? These are the chariots of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And Yahawashi is coming, amongst them. Okay. So this is Psalm chapter 68, verse 17. It says the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. It says, and Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. Okay. So there are, fleets of these angels, or these chariots. Okay. And what do? They maneuver. All right. So when we go to the book of Isaiah, right, 31, in verse number 5, it says, as birds flying, so will Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. How is he doing that? In the chariots, right? In these so-called UFOs, all right, which are chariots, which are basically spacecrafts, right? Which are the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay, and they're literally hovering over and watching this place. All right, the scriptures kind of talk about that. Let's see. Let's go to that real quick. Just got a couple more. I'm gonna close it out. I'm not gonna make this too long. Right, Proverbs 15:3. It says the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. All right. So the eyes of the Lord, what are they doing? The chariots, they're watching this place, right? The evil and the good in this place. Okay. It says, Second Chronicle, right? 16, verse number 9. It says, for the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. All right, but the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi run to and fro throughout the earth. They go in and out. They go here, back to the spirit world, right? Because these are spiritual vehicles. Esau's, you're not shooting this stuff down. There's nothing that's going to stop these. You don't have no, craft that fell and damaged. That's not, that didn't happen. All right. But they'll tell you that. All right. These are spiritual vessels. All right. Let's just get one more and I'm going to close it out. All right. This is Luke 21, verse number 28. Right. It says, and when these things begin to come to pass, right, and we see all these things that Yahawashi was talking about, the signs in the heavens, and the sun, the stars, you have the earthquakes in diverse places, you have all these things, right, and let me just get to the point. It says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up for that, and lift your heads up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Why? Because Yahawashi is coming where? From above. He's coming in the clouds. He's coming in the chariots and these so-called UFOs. All right. And he's coming to deliver his elect, and he's coming to bring destruction upon this place, man, and take over the kingdoms of the world. All right. So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. Right. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kol Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, a mighty shalom to the 144,000 men, and to the rest of the elect. Stay diligent, stay focused. Keep praying for one another, and look up. All right. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well to the spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. All right. And so continue to look up, man. You're going to see stuff in the sky. All right. And they're not UFOs. All right. And with that, I'll say shalom.